Fantasy managers, hello and welcome back to the final preview edition of the FPL Addicts, powered by Esports Live Euro 2020 Fantasy Podcast. I want to start the show by thanking each and every one of you who've been involved in both our free and paid mini league. Those who have listened to the podcast and those who have continued the latest over on both our social pages, which are at Esports Live Now and at FPL_Addicts. As the Euro 2020 final stage, 800 plus member community could not have been built without you all. Thank you wherever you are in the world, and we hope to see you entering our league in the upcoming Fantasy Premier League season as well. Today we'll be reviewing the semi-finals and previewing the main event, the final of Euro 2020. With me, as always, are the regulars. We've got Jack from Esports Live, Matt, aka the Guru from FPL Addicts, Dave, and my right-hand man in the commentary box, Ollie Walker-Peel. So let's get right into it. We'll start with you, Ollie. How are you doing, mate?
To be honest, you can't even call me regular anymore, but thanks for that anyway. I'm never here, but I had to hop on this one. It's about the only one I've been able to hop on this summer, but, you know, it's been great seeing the work for father you're doing. Buzzing England are in the final. How we've done it, it has been amazing. Obviously, we deserve to beat Denmark, despite what the naysayers are saying. And, as I've said, every single podcast I've been on, and I'll say it again, football's coming home.
Well, a minute and 43 seconds it took for the first person to say it's coming home, just on record, and it was Ollie back on the podcast, back saying what matters. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, mate. Brilliant performance from England. We'll get onto that in a little bit, but we'll introduce Statman Dave as well now, who was going for Belgium in the Euros. Obviously, that flopped, so he's moved on to the Copa America now, and he's donning the Brazil shirt. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing well, Elliot.
Yeah, that's exactly what we like to hear. And obviously that game played before the Euro final. So obviously a lot of people will be tuning into that one as well. But we'll move on to you now, Matt, as well. So how are you doing? Are you awake? Have you recovered from, big night out, big morning out here in Melbourne?
Yeah, look, I wasn't out for this one, actually. But of course I watched the game and yeah, I was absolutely buzzing with the result. And, the King scored again, albeit from a rebound, but they all count. And absolutely buzzing. And look, I remember saying after the Scotland game with Jack, that the style of playing England are playing can win tournaments. You don't concede goals, and yeah, it's worked, and it's definitely coming home, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. All the hopes are up high now, but brilliant. And Jack, a man that I know was definitely out for the game. Have you finally recovered?
Yeah, it was the last couple of hours have been pretty difficult, if I'm honest, but I needed that, the extra couple of hours just to sort myself out. But yeah, it was a big one. The Guru didn't turn up to the pub, but he watched it from home. So I did all the celebrating for us both.
Yeah, absolutely, and would have been a really, really brilliant morning in the pubs and everything all around the world. England fans unite, and just an absolutely brilliant performance. We'll get onto it now, and we'll just have a little talk about it. We'll start with you, Matt. Just how good was your man Harry Kane again? Obviously, he got the goal from the rebounded penalty, but I thought he was excellent once again. Showing his Spurs form almost this season. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he was good winning. I think the amount of free kicks he won was really helped the team. He took the pressure off, and I thought it was one of his most sort of rounded performances in the tournament so far. And I was in a bit of shock when he actually missed the pen, because he doesn't miss many. I was saying to Jack the next day, when he goes in that corner, he normally does it if the goalie has already gone the other way. Otherwise, he would just smash it and put it low. But it was strange to see him miss, because I think he's only missed 3 in his career, and he's put a lot more away. But he got the rebound, it went in, and that's what we're all going to remember. So yeah, great performance by Kane, and really good performance by England. I actually thought they deserved to win by a few more goals. So yeah, really, really good game.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously he got the pre-assist, we'll call it, for the first goal as well, with the lovely weighted through ball to Saka. Yeah. That was absolutely brilliant. I was in awe watching that over and over again. Just absolutely incredible. And obviously Raheem Sterling as well, probably England's player of the tournament so far. Jack had another brilliant performance as well. Probably, I would say, one of his better performances in the competition. But just how good was he as well?
Yeah, he was brilliant. I think, I think in the Ukraine game, I thought he was really good in the Ukraine game. He carried that same form into his last game. He could have had a hat-trick, I thought, into this game as well. Shout out to Oz Spike, who's just joined us on Twitter, saying what a night. I think he was he managed to fly back from Perth back to the UK and managed to go to the semi-final. So Oz, I bet you are absolutely loving the last 24 hours in the UK. What a feeling must be. But yeah, going back to Sterling, he looked great. Could have had a hat trick. and obviously he was involved. And if Kaiser didn't put the ball in the back of in the back of the goalie, I'm sure Sterling would have been on the end of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and fingers crossed he wouldn't have missed that one. He didn't exactly have his shooting boots on for that night, but we have seen him miss from that sort of distance, so you never really know. But hopefully, fingers crossed, in the final he can bring his shooting boots and take England over the line, because he's been absolutely brilliant at the Euros so far. But Ollie, I want to talk about England just a little bit defensively, and Kyle Walker, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. Even John Stones, they all really stood out for me. Kyle Walker in particular, I think, was absolutely brilliant. So what did you make of our performance defensively?
Yeah, my man of the match from by a mile, was Kyle Walker. He was good. I mean, we've been solid all tournament. The one free kick that the one goal we have conceded from a free kick, some say Pickford should have saved. But, from a free kick that shouldn't have stood at the end of the day, there was something in the rule that said that it shouldn't have stood. But defensively, from open play, we don't look like conceding either. So it's something that, like we say, good defences can win tournaments. And at the moment, it may win us this one. But no, Kyle Walker was brilliant. Obviously, he's so quick, isn't he? So anytime they try and play a ball in behind, there's no striker, or there's very few strikers in the world that are going to outpace him. And I don't think Ciro Immobile will be able to in the final. So it's a good weapon to have. Obviously, him and Maguire, it's a centre-half partnership of dreams pretty much. So hopefully it can carry us forward to win the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And Slabhead, as they call him, Jackie, he's been brilliant all tournament as well, hasn't he? If he was playing for the first 2 games, I think it was, that he missed, I think he'd definitely be on shout for, one of the players of the tournament, because he's been brilliant for England, hasn't he?
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference to the team, and he's got that ability to, dribble forward with the ball confidently. He likes to pick a pass. He doesn't mind doing the direct pass even. He's not bad at pinging them, but he's England look a lot stronger for him being in there. I think when Mings was in there, obviously it looks okay, Mings, but I think Maguire just makes that massive difference for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the other game that was on, just a day before was Spain-Italy. Obviously Italy coming out as the winners in that game, but maybe a little bit hard done by, do you think, Matt? Spain, controlled the game quite well, I thought, and they were quite unlucky to lose it, definitely, I thought.
Yeah, look, I agree. Spain were sort of on my radar for this tournament, and I really like the look of their squad. I know they didn't pick all their sort of best players, but the likes of Pedri in that game was just phenomenal. We talk about Phil Foden in the Premier League, but Pedri, 18 years old, he just controlled that match. And I think Spain were unlucky. They had a lot of the ball, they had opportunities, and they really run Italy into the ground. And it was close, and obviously decided on pens, but very unlucky.
Yeah, penalties obviously is a cruel game, as us England fans probably know more than most nations out there in the world. But we'll move on now, because I can see Jack and Matt are sitting there quite eagerly waiting for the paid league, the standings from the paid league. So if we bring my share screen up, you'll be able to see that both of them technically sit inside the top 3. Jack sits in second, only behind Marko Skokic. Just sort of the couple of points behind him. So Jack sitting in second. Are you feeling good going into the last match day of the season?
Yeah, listen, I think England being in the finals kind of overshadowed everything in the paid league, but it's it's nice to be in there. I felt after my last round for the quarterfinals, I thought I'm going to drop out of it here going into the semis, but then obviously Damsgaard put away an absolute scream of a free kick. So that kind of helped me going into this one. We kind of recovered where I'd lost ground, or potentially could have lost ground. So he's put me back in that mixer in second place. Yeah, excited to be there. Just got to keep a cool head now and not choke.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to, you could probably afford to just stay with the pack and do what most people are going to do. Don't need to take too many risks if you're happy with, sitting in second place. So you've got to sort of think about it in that sort of sense. But Matt, obviously you are, as you can see on screen there, joint third with your mate, James Gasden. So it's going to be a little bit of a rivalry between you two. Are you watching the final together, do you think?
Yeah, we'll be watching the final together, and we've already had a bit of a chat about, our potential strategies going into the final. So it's going to be interesting. He's pretty happy because he's above his brother. So he looks like he's got that one wrapped up. And then I think for me, it's just trying to get that third. If I can push Jack in second, then great. I think first is just a bit too far, but if I can get third, then brilliant after the the mess I was in after the quarters. So I'll be happy to get some prize money, hopefully, but James will want to get me.
Yeah, and as we talk about the Gazners there, Matt has just said on Facebook, should I get a tattoo in anticipation of football coming home? And I'm not going to advise it too heavily, mate, but absolutely, I think, absolutely get it and put it all over the social pages. And then when it pulls off, you'll be known as a genius, mate. So absolutely go for that. And as as we're talking about him now, he sits in 8th in the mini league, as we can see, just Matt Cowling, Kieran King and Martin Watchhorn above him. And the paid league's really shaping up. And obviously, Jack, the top 3 do get the prize money. So if you and the Guru can both stay in there, then it'll be a pretty good representation of the podcast, don't you think?
Yeah, that's it. It's all going to do us hopefully well in there. I think everyone in the paid league's kind of taking some takeaways and some tips, some opinions, bit of nonsense from us. But ultimately, we've got a close community in there, and us being near the top is a good sign. Hopefully that we've had a lot of luck. For one, maybe, but number 2, that we've sharing some good insights. But I think Marko Skoko in there has got the bit of the advantage, just being a neutral. I know he's a Croatian, so I think having that neutral kind of outlook. Whereas obviously I'm going to be, we're very heavily favoured towards England. He's got a bit of that insight where he might pick a couple of Italians to balance it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Marko Skokic, who sits first in the paid league, finds himself 9th in the free league. And, the free league is obviously, a lot more points in first place, 419 points. And I think, were you saying before, Matt, that he's 16th in the world?
He was after the Italy-Spain game. If we click on his profile, and then if you go on to the his points at the top, he might still be sitting in that sort of top 20 in the world, which is, phenomenal for our league.
Is that it there? Rank 6?
Oh God, he could be 6th in the world then.
Wow.
So we've got to find him, haven't we? We got to top.
He's found us, so must be able to find him somewhere.
So I'll just check by clicking on Mohamed Omar's, and 6th in the world. That is absolutely insane because it says he's ranked 83 in 2nd place there. So 6th in the world in our free league is absolutely insane. Obviously, we had the 2nd in Australia in Ozpike, didn't we? But 6th in the world is absolutely insane to be sitting in our free league there. And the question just begs, why won't you enter in the paid league? Because, you would have got a lot of money from that, you'd like to think. So, you've got to back yourself.
Daniel, if you're listening, get in touch, mate, and reach out, and hopefully get him on the pod, especially if he wins.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he's
amazing, wouldn't it?
16 points clear of 2nd place, Mohamed Omar. And then, there's not really too much else to talk about with the free league there. Marko Skokic is probably going to finish inside the top 10. And then I think it's Rory Gorman there, one of Ollie's mates, I think it was.
Oh, nice.
Sits there in 9th from the FPL league as
Good
well.
work,
So
Rory.
he's found himself up there as well. So,
old school mate of mine is a Middlesbrough lad, is Rory. So, he'll be buzzing with that. Kept in contact with him over the Euros, over fantasy. That's how we pretty much reconnected, because I pretty much lost touch with him for a few years. But, he texts me all the time about fantasy, and he's a better player than me at the moment. So, fair play, Rory. Well done, mate.
He's texting you, not for advice, surely, just to tell you how good he's doing.
Mate,
screenshot of the position.
a bit of both, really. For some stupid reason, he actually asked me for advice. I don't know why. I hope he doesn't.
He just wanted to see what you were doing, so we could do the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
A bit of reverse psychology on you there, mate. Because I don't know why he'd be going to you for advice. He's got to get in our Discord so we can get in touch with the Guru for the best advice. But we'll move on to your team now, Jack. And 33 points, you sit 2nd in the league. You got to be pretty happy with yourself at the minute. Sort of just not the best score this week, but it's got you the points that you need to stay up there in that mini league. So 33 points. Just take us through your team, mate.
Yeah, obviously, I went for a bit of a differential, if I'm honest, during the Spain-Italy. I had Ferran Torres as my captain. I was thinking he might be able to step up, because obviously, and everyone was going for Morata, weren't they? And I thought trying to do something a little bit different. So Gerard Moreno came into my team. He'd been coming on as a substitute, obviously, a lot for Spain. So I brought him in instead of Morata. Morata didn't start either, so I was kind of buzzing when I saw that. I thought, he's lost faith in him there, but he's come on and bloody scored, hasn't he? And Ferran Torres, I think he came off for Morata, so that kind of went my differential captain went down the pan. So I went into the England-Denmark game relying heavily on trying to pick up a score. Captain Harry, of course, And then obviously Damsgaard got that free kick, pulled me back in. So if he didn't perform, I definitely would have been level points with that third place with the Guru and James. So Damsgaard free kick helped out, and obviously Sterling played well in there, got me some points, and maybe a couple of moves. Pickford, I wasn't sure if he was going to concede or not, but obviously I just backed Jordan there, even though he did have a bit of a wobble, didn't he? But yeah, apart from that, not too bad. Quite a low score, but everyone was scoring low this round, weren't they?
Yeah, obviously, with only 2 games going on, that there wasn't too many goals. It was 5 in the round, so yeah, that was never going to be the 100+ point week. So I'd be very surprised if anyone out there in the world did manage to get that. But keeping faith for Harry Kane for the final, do you think, Jack, is your captain pick?
I probably just need to have a proper look at the team, but I'm probably going to go Harry or Sterling, I reckon. So one of them two, yeah.
As long as it's not an Italian asset, mate, that is all good.
I don't think I can do that to myself, but someone else out there might be looking at those ones, and I'm sure the Guru and James will be trying to play mind games with each other and trying to pick something different in there, like obviously Chiesa for one, I imagine.
As we can see there on the screen now from the Guru, Chiesa captain, 14 points for his 40-point week. So I'll let you take it away, Matt, and explain your week.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad actually, and I was happy with Chiesa. He looked brilliant in the quarterfinal. He's looked good every time he's kind of appeared in this tournament. I just had a feeling I'd seen the day before that he'd scored against Spain in a friendly, and it was an unbelievable goal, and he actually scored a similar one in this semi-final. So yeah, he was always going to be in my side, and got a bit lucky with the captain not needing to kind of change it the next day. I went pretty heavy on defence in England, sort of expecting a clean sheet, but obviously that didn't pay off. And then in midfield, I put Olmo in there from Spain, and he got the assist. So I was pretty happy with that. Again, I sort of had a little read before. I saw there was an injury to Sarabia, and he was the direct replacement, so that paid off nicely. And then sort of Kane and Sterling, helping out with goal and assists. So yeah, pretty good week, and going into the final, it's just about am I going to split 6 and 6, or go 8 from one team and 3 from another. I'm not too sure. 6 and 5 and 8 and 3. I'm not too sure. I've got to try and put my be a bit more not have the rose tinted glasses on.
Off, yeah,
and just have a proper think, because Italy have been very, very good in this tournament. So, I've got to look at their assets as well. But yeah, not too sure what I'm going to do. Captain's armband, probably similar to Jack, Sterling, Kane. Maybe if there's going to be an Italian, then maybe I don't know, Barella or someone like that if I'm going to push him, or Insigne. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, fortunately for me, I've got nothing to lose, sort of heading into the final day. So it's all guns blazing for me for England, but we will get onto the transfers later. But yeah, as we say, Matt, absolutely brilliant week from you there, mate. So hats off to you. I managed to get myself 36 points. My captain on the first day was actually Morata, and I decided to switch it over to Harry Kane. So a little bit of a mistake for me there, but didn't really matter. If he was able to tuck the first penalty away, wouldn't have affected me, but it was only 2 points in the end. So him and Kane were the ones from the forward line that managed to fire. Immobile obviously didn't manage to do anything once again. He's sort of slowly sort of tapering out his tournament. He's not really been, among the goals too heavily for Italy recently, but Sterling, winning the penalty, in my opinion, very, very soft penalty. Won't say it wasn't a penalty, but quite a soft penalty. But obviously we were robbed of one in the first half as well, where Harry Kane should have had, the 2 penalty 1 points in my opinion. But less said about that, the better. Scored, doesn't matter, into the final. And then Insigne and Grealish didn't manage to do anything. Grealish subbed off just a little bit later as well for one of Southgate's favourites, Kieran Trippier. Shocking, but not too shocking at the same time, considering the situation. And then Damsgaard, everyone's been talking about his free kick. Personally, as an England fan, I think Pickford could have done better. Was quite central, the free kick. I thought if it was a little bit more to the left, but I think, dinosaur arms, as we call him during the FPL season, probably could have done maybe just a little bit better there. But obviously, as we say, in the end, didn't matter at all. And then Walker and Shaw managed to get me to 2 points each. And then Marla, who was, deadly quiet in that game. I was expecting, a little bit more from him, but Saka and Walker managed to keep him quiet on the right-hand side as well. So, yeah, 36 points for me, and as I said, I've got nothing to lose, so it's going to be all England for me when we get onto the preview for the next round a bit later. But Ollie, I'm going to ask you about your team now, and you've had a little bit of a nightmare, mate, because I was saying before, Pablo Sarabia is your captain for the first day, absolutely fine. Forgetting to change your captain's armband off of him and him getting auto-subbed to your bench for getting 0 points, probably not the best thing to do, mate. But take us through your team.
Mate, look, I'll be honest with you. I tried to log in on the app and it wouldn't let me for some reason. And then from that point, I tried to log in just before the England game, couldn't do it, and then just thought, you know what, I don't care. I honestly don't. And that was the first time for a football. I know with AFL this year sometimes I felt quite disconnected, so I haven't really bothered. First time for a football deadline, I was like, I don't mind. England's more important. A massive semi-final. I'm just going to leave it, and I didn't even check before today what I even got. So I'm like, I probably had a shocking score anyway. My team's probably down the pan as it is. I don't need to change my captain, so I didn't.
Sounds like a man who's given up, to be honest.
I mean, that's the beauty of fantasy football, right? You're either doing well and you're keeping your eye on your team, or everything's gone wrong and you're ready to retire, right?
I've made my transfers for the final.
So you have managed to get into the app.
So I've managed now. It worked.
It
didn't work when I needed it to. So look, to be honest with you, I'm obviously it's going to be a one-time thing. It's not going to be something like it's not going to be a big thing where I'm going to forget it every week. It'll be this week and that'll be it. So it is what it is.
Well, fingers crossed, you can maybe pull out manager of the match day for the final with your 5 transfers or something, mate. But 28 points and probably not the best shown from you.
Calvin Phillips is captain.
Calvin Phillips was your captain, or is your captain?
No, put Calvin Phillips as captain and I'll make manager of the week, 100%. I think
captain.
When I logged back in, when I actually got to log back in, 73 days later than I needed to. Calvin Phillips was my captain, and I was really confused because obviously I didn't put it as Calvin Phillips, but he must have come off the bench for Sarabia because Sarabia obviously was my captain. So maybe I'll give the old peel of the armband and see where we go.
Well, probably the less said about your team, the better, mate. So we'll move on to yours now, Statman Dave, and better than Ollie, so that's all that really matters. 31 points, and you did manage to change your captain, I'm assuming, because it's on Harry Kane. It's not on Pablo Sarabia, who isn't actually even in your team. So take us through your team, mate.
Look, I've been pretty up and down this tournament. I've generally had a good week followed by a pretty horrible week, and I did okay this week with the 31 points, and luckily got to 31 points thanks to Sterling deciding to take a dive in the box, which gave me a few extra points. Probably I went fairly heavy on England without going too hard, and shared it around between the other 3 teams, which is giving me a bit of a headache coming for the final. I've got a fair few changes I've got to make. I think there's 6 guys I'll have to look to get rid of. So what did I have? So I had Kane and Immobile up top, and then Torres, Højbjerg, Verratti, and Signe and Sterling in the midfield. Laporte, Maguire, and Shaw in defence. So very heavy on England there. And then I went with Simon as the keeper over Pickford, which, look, in the end didn't make a lot of difference, but it was just a little sort of differential thinking that most people would probably go for Pickford. So did all right in the end, but, could have been better.
Absolutely, and as long as you're not, if you're able to get into the app and change your captain's armband, then you're doing better than Ollie, so that's all that really matters. But the extra point from Unai Simon and Jordan Pickford, it's those little fine margins that can, be the difference between you and someone else in the mini league. So a really decent week from you there, mate. And as we say, your team's looking quite healthy for the final. You obviously got the 2 England assets on the bench, so you should probably be all right for fielding a full 11 and everything like that. So a really good week from you, Statman Dave. And as I can see in the bottom of the screen there, I've only just seen him, is Chris Reid, the man himself, the England representative of everything fantasy and everything England. So how are you doing, mate?
How are we getting on, mate? Just sneaked in there under the radar, didn't I?
Not lying, mate.
Enjoying everyone's previews of their team and whatnot. I'm good, yeah. Amazing, obviously, based on the first preview of the Euros that you did when you all were doing the tournament predicting. We're kind of giggling about England winning it. Statman was sat there quietly going, Belgium are just going to smash everyone. And England have made it, obviously, to the final. I mean, it puts a smile on everyone's face. Even Statman, he can't help himself.
Through the beard.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm good. Thanks. I'm good, mate. It's good to see you, lads.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
To see you too as well, Reedy.
I think we had. I want to say we had England-France in the final on our little predictors.
It was England-Belgium. I was looking for.
Oh, was it? Was it?
It was England-Belgium because we had Belgium to beat Italy, so we got it the wrong way around.
Oh, so we were that close. Yeah, obviously England won it in both our mindsets in that predictor anyway. So we're obviously going to be right, and it's going to come home, isn't it, Reedy? But we'll move on to your team now, and similarly to Matt, you've had a really, really good week, 40 points. So just take us through your team, mate.
Yeah, not too bad, to be fair. I would have liked a bit higher, and yeah, again, I mean, I did get into the app. I did manage to get on mine and sort me captain out. Sorry to say it again, Ollie, but it all came down to that being the difference between me not winning the match round or the match day prize. But I went with England assets. 5 of those. Spain, who basically. It was a toss of a coin, really, for the Spain. I already had them, I think, from the previous round, so obviously I was going to keep them in there. And they didn't manage to keep a clean sheet. But, I got a couple of points for them. And really, my main points came from the likes of Chiesa, Damsgaard, as Chat mentioned, the absolute rocket of a free kick. T-Rex arms couldn't help himself.
There we go. That's what we like to see on the podcast. T-Rex arms. Thank you, Reid.
He just couldn't help it. He was a nervous wreck, I think, Pickford. But
yeah,
luckily the defenders stepped up. Maguire outstanding. But yeah, Sterling again got an assist with the penalty. Don't know if you guys seen that one. Maybe a bit lucky to actually get the penalty because of the foul.
50-50, mate.
There was 2 balls on the pitch.
Yeah.
2 balls on the pitch. Now, we can
say. I thought I was seeing double.
No, CGI, mate. Well, isn't it CGI? That's what it was. But yeah, we got the pen, so that's all that matters, I suppose. And then I captained Harry Kane. I decided to switch it and go for it. Why not? And he managed to miss the pen, but also get the rebound, shoot to assist. We call it in the FIFA world. Yeah, that's it really. I kind of got 40. It could have been better. I could have captained Chiesa or could have captained Damsgaard, but I was just hoping Harry Kane would get a couple. But he got the one, and that's all that mattered.
I was going to say, and he did, and you got to go as an Englishman. I think it's only right that you sort of go with an English asset. As Matt was saying, you got the it's coming home glasses on, and you don't want to take them off until the tournament's over, until the slight possibility that our hearts do get ripped out once again. But as we said, it's not happening because it's coming home. And 40 points from you, Reedy, is a really, really good week. And obviously, as we said, a little bit unlucky not to get manager of the match day. But as we're speaking of manager of the match day, we might as well reveal who has won it for the semi-finals. And it's a familiar face to the podcast and a very familiar face to the guru. It was Renee Karakosis or Guru Kosis, as we should now dub her, as the guru of the household. Matt, you've lost your title, unable to win a manager of the match day so far. So how do you feel about this?
Yeah, look, I've got to hold my hands up and say, well done to her. And I'm pretty happy that she's won it, to be honest. Like, one of us has got it. But I think Ollie was sort of saying on the Instagram socials earlier, he was asking, she's the true guru now. And I said, where do you think I've been getting all these tips from in the first place? So, she is the inside lady.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's been exposed now. So unfortunately, she's not going to be appearing on the podcast, but we'll have to get her on for the Fantasy Premier League season, give her own sort of the proper guru section, I think we could call it, or something like that. We could have Matt's first, Renee's afterwards, and we could get all the proper information. But yeah, congratulations to you, Renee. You take the $30 Aussie prize, and yeah, obviously the paid league, as we went through it before, it's heating up massively, and it's going to be a really close finish for the second and third places, especially. So keep your eyes on that, and that wraps up the review section of the podcast. So if we move on now, we'll have a look at the fixture of the round. And in the past couple of weeks, we've sort of picked an asset or two from each game, and who we think is really going to perform. But obviously, as it is the final, there's only one game to pick from. So I think if we all sort of go for one separate asset, trying to keep it as non-biased as possible. But yeah, we'll start with you, Jack, from England and Italy. If you had to pick one. Doesn't have to be a differential, can be as obvious as you want. Just give us a little bit of insight onto who you think is going to be the main person.
I'm just going to say the most obvious one that you've got to look at, and it's Sterling. I think Raheem Sterling on fire. I think he's been, like I said before, we touched on it, last two games been even more impressive than his earlier ones where he was scoring as well. But I think he's here, there and everywhere. He played the whole game, played all of extra time. He still looked great. Getting in the right positions. Obviously, he didn't score, but he was involved in the goals, involved in one of the goals. And I don't know, he's just a man on fire, isn't he? I'm still not going to pick him for FPL, but for Euros, he's still going to be the man. I'm going to back, and like I say, he's going to be a captain contender. Southgate is a massive fan of him. Doesn't really like taking him off. He's for his age and his experience. That's why I think he keeps him on that pitch. Johnny don't like rotating him off. So yeah, Sterling's the man. So if you haven't got him in yet, you've got to get him in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that about FPL. I got a little notification from the Premier League app today saying is Sterling being overlooked at 11 million or so, what he's priced at. And I just looked at it, I laughed, and I had a little swipe at the notification, clear that he's not going in my fantasy team for the season. But as long as he's doing it in an England shirt, and as you say,
that's it.
He's a good option because we've seen it time and time again. This tournament doesn't really get subbed off, does he? Usually plays the full 90 or 120, and Southgate really likes to keep him on. So I think it's a really safe pick to go with Sterling. And as you say, he's probably a really high contender for the armband. But if we move on to you now, Statman, you're probably going to be the only person to choose an Italy asset if you choose to do so. But who are you going to go with?
Look, I did consider an Italy asset, but I'm actually going to go Luke Shaw.
Come on, Statman.
He's a bit of an attacking threat down the back. I think for the tournament, I'm just looking at it now, he's got 4 clean sheets and he's had 3 assists. And he's the second highest scorer of all the remaining players behind Sterling. So he's one that I've had in my team for the last couple of weeks and been pretty happy to own.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely one that probably should be going into your FPL teams as opposed to Raheem Sterling for the season as well. So he's been absolutely brilliant so far, Luke Shaw. As you say, one of the top assisters in the competition in England. They haven't been leaking too many goals, obviously just the one. So they still haven't conceded from open play as well. So that's pretty insane to me. But yeah, Luke Shaw and Raheem Sterling so far. Guru, who are you going to add to that list?
I'll go Harry Kane. Go on.
It's just the obvious one, isn't it? Harry Kane, your man.
England, yeah. Got to put him in, I think, for the final. And, I think if I'm going to have to pick one, he stands out. He was brilliant in the last match and he was involved in both goals. Yeah, so he's got to go in from an England point of view. If you want me to pick an Italian, probably Chiesa.
Yeah. Probably 2 proper safe bets there, I think. Obviously Chiesa won't be doing much in the game, but if anyone was likely to do anything, it'd probably be him. But everyone knows England's keeping a clean sheet, 2-0 England inside 90 minutes, I reckon, and it's coming home. So Kane, Sterling, Shaw, Ollie, who else are you going to add?
The really the ones that jump off the page have been sort of cherry picked. So I'll go with a bit of an outside one. Bukayo Saka, I think he'll start. And obviously got the assist for the Kier on goal. And I think he's been quality when he's got on the ball. Obviously, he likes to make those runs in behind, plays the ball forward. So I think he's a very progressive player, Bukayo Saka. And I think, if he gets a chance with the ball with his feet, potentially he might do something. I think he'll start ahead of Foden. I don't think Gareth Southgate should change anything. So if Saka does start, obviously, we'll get the lineup before the deadline. So if Saka starts, he'd be one to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Saka running at, someone like Emerson does excite me quite a little bit myself. So he's obviously one that we'll get onto transfers just after we do this, but he's one that I've looked to get in for my team as well, because I think, as you say, he's probably one that's nailed on to start. Hasn't really done much to warrant being dropped. Sancho played there against Ukraine and stuff like that, but yeah, Saka probably is probably one of the safe ones to start, I think. So yeah, really good pick from you there. And then the final one, Reedy, who are you going to pick?
What have you left me with here, boys? Hey,
defenders.
Pickford. I was going to say. I mean, I want to say Mount in a way, but I don't know if he'll start. I'd love to say Grealish, but obviously got taken off, and I don't think he's in Gareth Southgate's plans to start like he hasn't been most of the tournament really. So, tell you what, I'll go for Slabhead. He's the one. Get Maguire in there. Hopefully he'll get another a goal like he has this tournament and get his head on the end of it and just smash Bonucci and Chiellini to pieces on a set piece. So I'll go for Maguire. I think he's been solid. So he'll do the job.
Yeah, he's been brilliant at the tournament so far, and obviously does pop up with the occasional goal from set pieces because he is such a massive presence in the opposition penalty box and everything like that. So some really good picks there: Sterling, Shaw, Kane, Saka, and Maguire, obviously. So if you're looking to get sort of 5 players in your teams, I think they're probably really good bets, and keep away from as many Italian assets as you can, obviously, as well. So that's probably my best advice to you. But if we move on to our sort of transfers now, obviously I can't see if anyone has made theirs yet, but we'll just sort of have a little discussion about it. So I'll bring your team up on the screen, Jack, just so we can see who you've got to get rid of. Well, you don't have to get rid of anyone, obviously, because there is only going to be one game. So subs are pretty useless unless, auto subs. But are you sort of anyone on your radar that you think you're nailed on to get in?
I think I'd add maybe 1 or 2 more Italians in there. Just I've got probably 3 moves to make. With the Danish and Torres to come out. From what you see, obviously the striker options, there's not really any option to do that. So probably be a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. 4-4-2 sounds about right. Seems appropriate for England. But going, I think midfield wise, probably an Italian. Chiesa is on the radar. Maybe a fullback. I think Kyle Walker will probably come in there as well. And probably one more that I've just got to maybe weigh up and see. Do you gamble on a midfielder? Maybe a Saka, or even Sancho. Sancho get a start. I don't know. You just don't know what Gareth's going to do. So maybe a random differential like that. But it's just like Ollie said, you've got quite a late one. So might be when I'm in the pub in the morning. Yeah, as long as you
can sign in. As long as you can
sign in. As long as you sign in and get a signal. Otherwise, I'll have to try and see what that team lineup looks like and get a player in last second.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point that you raised, Jack, with the differentials, because obviously there is only one game, so you can afford to have, 4 players that are still going to be playing the game on your bench if, your transfer amount will let you. So you could definitely go with, a couple of fringe players that you think might play, might not, start them, and then they'll obviously get auto-subbed if you put, your reliable ones on the bench. But it just depends if you're willing to take that risk, heading into the last game of the season. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of similar transfers from each other, I feel. But Dave, if we bring up your team as well, there's only a couple that you've got to make as well. I'm going to assume that you're going to actually start Pickford this time and back him in. And obviously John Stones is also sat on your bench, so you don't have to do too much with your team. But are you going to look to get a couple of Italian assets into your team, do you think?
Yeah, I think probably the main ones I'll be looking to bring in is a couple of midfielders to replace Torres and Højbjerg. Probably Chiesa, maybe Jorginho or Grealish. Like Jorginho's on penalties, so potentially if there's penalties involved, and he's the penalty he took in the shootout the other night was pretty special. So I think if he gets the opportunity to take one, he's going to score it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that you raised. Not a lot has said has been said about Jorginho as in a fantasy sense at the Euros so far. It's been all about the Verrattis, the Locatellis, the Barellas and stuff like that. But as we've said all season with FPL, you know, he is the penalty taker. He was Chelsea's, I think he was the top scorer in the Premier League just because of penalties. So, you know, he's definitely, you know, a good one to have. And as Jack was saying with the differentials, he's a good one to just have on your bench, or even if you want to start him on a fringe. You know, England obviously aren't going to be giving away any penalties or anything like that. But if they do, you know, you'd probably back Jorginho to put it away against dinosaur arms. So you never know. But
is everyone touching wood there, by the way? Do you want to
yeah.
Giving away pens? Bloody hell.
Well, if he does, then hats off to you,
Statman Dave, I think Jorginho was in your team all season, wasn't he, for FPL? I think you're a fan of his now for a bit.
Certainly at the start of Euros, I had him in, and then he wasn't really getting those pen opportunities, so he found his way out pretty quickly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's a decent one to mention. I haven't gone with my team. As you can see, I've already made my transfers this morning. Very England heavy. Started the 3 Italian assets, which unfortunately you have to. If I could, I would be fielding 11 England players, but Immobile, Insigne and Emerson are the Italian assets that are all going to blank. And then Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka, Kyle Walker, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford are the players that will be starting for me. And then, as you can see, 4 Italian assets sitting on the bench that are also going to do nothing. And the England boys are going to bring it home for me. And yeah, as we were saying, you know, it's going to be an interesting one because I think, you know, a lot of people are going to have very similar teams. There's only 2 teams playing, so it's going to be all about the differentials, don't you reckon, Matt? As we bring up your team now. It's going to be quite difficult, as I was saying, to sort of break away in your mini leagues. It's, you know, the final game of the season. So you and Jack, I'm actually quite envious of your position because you're sitting quite comfortably. And if you just do what most other people do, you'll probably be pretty safe, don't you think?
You're muted.
Oh, sorry, boys. Yeah, I think so. I think you know, there's not too much that needs to be changed there. I've already got, you know, Italians have pulled through and made their way through to the final, and I've got, I think, 6 England players in there, so I've got room for a couple more if I want to back England. You know, I think, I think Dave's point with Jorginho is a good one. You know, I think getting him in as one of the Italians isn't a bad shout. If, you know, they do get a penalty, we know they like a fool in the box as well. So I'd probably be looking at someone like that. You know, and then I guess it's just a case of, am I going to back a whole English defence and maybe put the Italian defenders on the bench with I hope that England might get a clean sheet. Yeah, it's a tough one. So, yeah, pretty much most of the players I like are already there. You know, Kane, Sterling, Luke Shaw, Maguire. So, yeah, it's just trying to scrape a differential or two, which, yeah, there's really not much out there, is there? So.
No, not at all. And obviously it would be ludicrous for both managers to be, you know, playing those players that are the differentials that, you know, haven't been playing for a lot of the tournament in the final. So it's going to be definitely a really, really interesting one. But yeah, if you are sitting pretty high in the mini leagues and stuff like that, then you're probably doing quite well for yourself. Reedy, we'll go to you finally for your sort of transfers. And again, not much that you got to do with your team. Just get a couple of those players out and then you'll be pretty good to go, do you think?
Yeah. I think it'd be a case of getting Saka in there and the likes of trying to think now. Kyle Walker. Probably get him in there. But yeah, it's pretty much set. We've got Bonucci.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Alexa, is it coming home? Siri,
carried away there. Alexa, is it coming home?
Oh my giddy aunt! After 55 years of hurt, Siri really might be coming home at last. And it smells amazing. England.
Come on!
What is going on?
Gotta get me an Alexa.
Hey,
that is brilliant.
Alexa's loving life there. I've had to switch it off, unfortunately. You know,
could you swing Caroline for us?
Brilliant, love it. But yeah, like I say, I've got Bonucci and someone else on the bench as well, an Italy asset on the bench. I've got Donnarumma, so I think it's going to be like yourself, El. I think I'm going to probably leave most of them on the bench, and then, you know, get all the England lads on. So Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. It's just like Matt was saying, you can't really get any differentials. It's we all want to go with our heart. We all want England to win, so we're going to get as many England players in there as possible, really. So, yeah.
Absolutely, mate. And that wraps up our sort of transfers and just the reminder, it's coming home. So if we move on now to the final guru section for Euro 2020 by the one and only Matt Day, or at FPL_addicts on Instagram and Twitter. And just a quick reminder, if you're not in the Discord, for the upcoming FPL season especially, head to www.e-sportslive.now.com.au/FPL addicts. You get direct access to the guru, advice, tips, everything. So absolutely loves to be bugged with all the fantasy queries and everything, because that's all he does all day is he sits in his office, analyzes the stats and everything, and tries to help everyone out with their fantasy. But for the last time for Euro 2020, Matt, you got your ones to watch, your captain choices, and your curveball captain. So take it away, mate.
Yeah, look, thanks, Elliot. And yeah, look, here we are into the final, and very slim pickings, I must say, for these ones to watch and differentials. There's only a couple in there. Same goes for the captains. There's obviously only one match. So if we start with the differentials, a few of them have already been mentioned. I'll go with Saka for England if he does.
She disconnected again.
You're on mute, Jack.
Jack, you're on mute.
I'm on mute as well. Here we go. We're having a mare again, aren't
we? Are you doing the guru section, Jack?
Oh, not today. I know I'm above him, but...
Sorry, boys.
That's all right.
Anyway, continuing on. Yeah, Saka, I think if he gets a start, we've got until deadline, like we have with all the tournament, and there's the first game or only game in this case. So we've got till deadline. I'd probably recommend, waiting on your transfers. But he's definitely a differential. And yeah, the other sort of two differentials are going to have to be from Italy. I think, Verratti in that midfield, I don't think he's in everyone's team. And he is very good on the ball. And that's probably the one area that I think Italy can exploit England, is in that central area. I think he's a brilliant player. So he's definitely a differential for me. And then the other one, if Saka's playing for England and he's pushing up high, then it gives someone like Emerson, who at Chelsea has been very attacking when he does get minutes. I do recall him scoring in the Champions League this season when he got some time. He's a very attacking fullback. He doesn't play much. He's probably going to be quite, fresh. And to be honest, he's probably really the only sort of player that you're not really going to see in anyone's team. So, if he does get a goal or gets an assist or a clean sheet, it's going to be a real differential pick. So, yeah, that's really the three that I think could potentially help you gain some points. There's not much to pick from.
Yeah, and obviously two of them differentials for a reason, because they're going to do absolutely nothing against England, fingers crossed. But head on to your captain picks now, mate. Who have you gone with?
Yeah, looks. I think captains. Yeah, Raheem Sterling, who everyone's mentioned, is probably a good pick. I think Renee actually said, he's the one to pick for this. She's pretty confident, so I'll put him at the top of the list. Obviously, Harry Kane, I think, for England as well. And Luke Shaw, who's been mentioned. I think they're the three for England that you should really look at. And then if we're going to look at the Italian captains, then Chiesa, brilliant player. Definitely him. And then Insigne, he gets a lot of shots on goal. Very good player. And he's someone as well that, could be a little bit underlooked for this one, because obviously there's a big heavy focus from England from a lot of people. So yeah, they're probably the sort of the main captains I would look at.
Yeah, and obviously if Renee's saying to get Raheem Sterling, you probably want to listen to her advice as much as you listen to the gurus. So you heard it here first. Raheem Sterling is the captain pick for the final. But do you have a little curveball for us, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to go with. I'll go with Barella for Barella from Italy. Serie A player of the season. He's had a couple of games in this tournament where he's, he might have scored, got an assist, got some pretty good points. Tends to control games. And yeah, like I said, I've got to take the England bias away and think about the good assets from this Italian team. And it's like I said before, so one area for England that does concern me sometimes is the midfield, and I just think that is a very strong position for Italy, and he's got tendencies to kind of control these games, and I think as a curveball, he could really be one, because you're going to get a lot of people on Sterling, Kane, and probably your Chiesa. So as a curveball, I'd probably say it's him.
Yeah, and obviously, as you say, with the midfield, the matchup, as much as we'd love to say that, Rice, Phillips and Mount are better than, Verratti, Locatelli and Barella or Jorginho in that mix as well. It doesn't really take too smart of a person to realise that it's probably not. So, definitely a really, really safe bet from you there, mate. If you are looking to, obviously shoot up the mini leagues, it's not a bad differential to sort of go with. So, thank you for all the knowledge in Euro 2020 for your guru sections, mate. And that wraps up the last one for the tournament. So it brings us to the end of the final preview podcast for Euro 2020. FPL Addicts, powered by Esports Live. And just a reminder to follow all the social pages at Esports Live now and at FPL_Addicts on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and head to www.e-sportslivenow.com.au/FPL Addicts for the link to the Discord and information regarding upcoming tournaments and the FPL season, obviously, as it approaches quite quickly now, just a couple of weeks away. So moving into the final match day, Jack, how do you feel just before we go, and do you think you can hold your spot?
Yeah, like I say, you could ride with the pack if I find a differential in there, maybe even take it out. It just depends what our mate Marco in first place is going to do. I might give him a message on our Discord and try and get in his head, try and get an idea from him, play a few mind games. But yeah, I'll see where we're at. But excited to go into it. If we can take out any of them top 3 prizes, absolutely brilliant. But it's just been great to be a part of, and it's definitely brought it closer to the action, having the Discord and the paid competition. So it's been a great addition to what we've been doing here and with Esports Live and FPL Addicts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been brilliant. Obviously, as I mentioned every week on the podcast, 800 plus members in that free league, and around 40 in the paid league as well. It's just absolutely brilliant. And people that you never thought you'd speak to all around the world on the Discord, interacting with them, enjoying the tournament with them. So it's absolutely brilliant. And Matt, I'll ask you the same question as we mentioned. Level on points with James Gasden. You confident you're going to beat him? Because I know the money's important to you, but bragging rights over James, sort of just outweighs it for you. Do you think?
Yeah, look, go on. I'll back myself. I think we're both going to have slightly different strategies. James loves a gamble. He loves to take risks, but I'll back myself to take that third and potentially second if Jack makes some bad decisions. So
I'm going to be top, and then
it's getting spicy. This boys.
As long as if the app works on.
Yeah.
So if the app works when we're out on the weekend, if it doesn't shut down, then I'll grab Jack's phone and transfer all his players out. So
brilliant stuff, lads. And then just before we go, the last thing we'll do on the podcast for the preview is we'll give our score predictions. Dave's just given me the idea there, so we'll start with you, Reedy. England, Italy, Euro 2020 final. What are you saying?
It's going to be a cagey affair, I think. Final. Both teams are going to want to win this really bad. I'm going to go 1-0 England.
That's what we like to hear. Dave, on to you. What are you thinking?
I think it'll be definitely a tight affair, but I love a good fairy tale story, and I think England might just be good enough to make it happen. And if Sterling wants to keep diving in the box, the Italians won't have a chance. So 2-1 England.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a game of mind games because, both teams are known to sort of do that. The Italians like to frustrate as much as the English do. So it's going to be an interesting one, but puts a big smile on my face that you think England are going to be able to get it over the line. Matt, what's your score predictions?
I'll go 1-1 in normal time, and then England to grab it in extra time, 2-1.
With your man Harry Kane scoring the winner?
Yeah, backing him to score the winner.
Yeah.
Header. I think he'll bang a header in.
First trophy for him in his career, fingers crossed. And Jack,
I hope so.
What about you?
I love that he's not going to take that back to Tottenham because he's going to be somewhere else. Yeah, same as Reedy. I was on 1-0. 1-0 England. Come on.
Yeah, I think, either 2-0 England or 2-1 England. I'm going to go with 2-0 just because it means we're keeping another clean sheet, and I think that would be absolutely brilliant. But yeah, 2-0 England. There's our predictions. Thank you so much for joining us on the journey for Euro 2020. And, may all your Euro fantasy dreams come true for the last match day of the season. And we'll see you for the next podcast. Take care. Stay safe. It's coming home.